On your knees, hands where I can see them. That's the first thing she threw at me on that strip of burning highway gun, aimed at my head, like my existence itself was a crime. And the wildest part is, I'd spent my whole life protecting the country she thought she was defending from me. I'm General Marcus Thompson, four-star son of a bus driver and a nurse. I've walked through fire in places most people only see on late-night news. I've written letters to mothers after holding their sons' hands in the dust. But that day on I-35, I was just a black man in a gray t-shirt standing beside a black SUV with federal plates trying to reset a frozen encrypted GPS, when Officer Laura Hendress decided I fit the story in her head. The heat was brutal, 100-plus air wobbling over the asphalt engine, idling hazards blinking, and her cruiser came in hot gravel, spraying door flying open like she'd been waiting all week to unload on somebody. She never asked if I needed help, never asked what was wrong with the car, just driver on your knees, hands up now, like she was flicking off a safety and I was target practice. I raised my hands, told her calmly, this was a government vehicle. I was on official travel, we could talk, but she wasn't there to listen. She was there to dominate. Cut me off, shouted again, closer this time, hand on her Glock, like if she paused, she might have to see me as human. I've dealt with warlords and cartel messengers who hid their fear behind guns, and her eyes looked exactly like that. So I swallowed my pride, went down slow, knees grinding into gravel, hands where she could see them, even though everybody watching that stream later would learn I outranked every cop in that county. She stomped behind me, kicked my leg out harder than she needed to, yanked my arms so high my shoulders burned, cuffs so tight they bit deep. Then she pressed cold steel against my temple and whispered, "One twitch, and you're done." Voice shaking, finger, not steady at all. And that's when I stopped worrying about disrespect and started worrying she might actually kill me on live video for walking while black with federal plates. I said it as evenly as I could, "Ma'am, that vehicle belongs to the United States Army. Check the plates before you do something you can't undo." And she let out this bitter laugh. "We've been told about your kind, and if you know those 4 words carry a whole file cabinet of hate." Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a dusty pickup skinny kid in a faded jersey holding his phone up, recording, eyes wide. Later I learned his name was Jamal Carter. 16, wanted to be a journalist that day, just a scared kid who knew wrong when he saw it. "I'm live," he muttered. "Highway I-35 officer's got a man at gunpoint, he's not resisting." And right there everything changed, because once the world is watching, lies have a shorter life. "Son, zoom in on her badge," I told him low and steady. "Let people see," and he did. Hands shaking, but he did it. Laura spun, saw the lens, and panic hit her harder than the heat. "Put that phone down or I'll take you in," she snapped. And the barrel drifted off me toward him, and his father came out of the truck yelling, "You don't point that at my boy." And suddenly her gun was swinging between a kneeling general, a teenager with a cracked phone, and a furious dad. And I thought, this is exactly how people end up dead for no good reason. "Deputy, you are escalating." I said that command tone I usually save for briefings, cutting through, "Step back, lower your weapon," and for half a second she wavered. Then her ego won. She shoved me face first into the gravel, split my cheek, and 500,000 people on that stream gasped in the same second as Jamal's viewer count exploded. Lying there with blood in my mouth and a gun against my head, I wasn't afraid of dying so much as ashamed. That after decades of service, this was still the script my skin could drop me into. You know what I mean? But I wasn't about to give her my fear. "Keep filming," I whispered to Jamal. History is watching, and he did chat, flooding with people, zooming screenshots, circling federal plates, asking, "Is that General Thompson?" tagging newsrooms and senators before the dust even settled around her boots. A second cruiser slid in, and Deputy Carlos Ramirez stepped out, took one look at the SUV, at my face, at Laura's gun, and went pale. "Laura, holster your weapon right now," he barked, but she snapped back that she had it handled, that I was resisting, that the kid was interfering, the same tired script, and he ignored it, met my eyes, and asked, "Sir, are you General Marcus Thompson?" Already knowing, and when I said yes, his whole posture changed. "That's a 4-star general," he shouted at her commander of Central Command. "You got a gun to his head on a live stream," and the color drained from hers. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" she stammered, and I just looked at her and said, "Because I shouldn't have to," and those 5 words hit harder than any speech I could have given. Ramirez scrambled to uncuff me. My secure phone was back in my hand, and I called the number burned into my memory. Vasquez code. Black coordinates coming, weapon drawn on federal, and on the other end, there was no disbelief, just protocol snapping awake. Before long, the low thump of rotors rolled over us. Black SUVs in formation took the shoulder like a drill, and people in Jamal's chat started typing, "That's military, that's federal, she is done." Yeah, that happened. Colonel Victoria Lang walked through the dust straight to me, quick salute, then turned to Laura, calm and cold. "Officer Hendris, you are relieved of duty, effective immediately badge and weapon." And when Laura tried, I didn't know who he was. Lang didn't even blink. That's exactly the problem. While Lang's team secured the scene, pulled Jamal's footage under federal chain, logged every word, she opened an archive file and showed us a photo I hadn't seen in years. Me in Fallujah carrying a bleeding Marine through smoke name tape. Hendris, her younger brother Ryan, the kid I'd dragged 200 yards under mortar fire after he told me his big sister was a cop back home, and he wanted her to be proud. Watching Laura see that, watching her crumble as it clicked, that she had aimed a shaking gun at the man who saved her brother's life, that was the twist nobody in that live stream saw coming. And yeah, a part of me wanted to let that irony do all the work. But accountability can't just be poetic, it has to be practical. So when federal investigators called, I told them everything. The your kind. The prior complaints, Ramirez finally admitted, had been brushed aside. The body cam mysteriously off the patterns that only came to light because a 16-year-old refused to put his phone down. The system actually moved for once. DOJ opened a civil rights probe, 5 buried cases with her name on them, came up settlements that never hit the news. A sheriff who went on TV and said he'd protected her. Laura pled, lost her badge, her pension, the illusion that she was just doing her job, and people argued online whether it was enough, too much, or just a show. The part that mattered to me was what came out of those 18 minutes, the Marcus Thompson Act forcing statewide body cams with independent storage de-escalation training that actually meant something, a Pentagon training film built from that footage so nobody putting on a uniform could say they didn't know how fast bias can pull a trigger. And the fund we started that sent Jamal to college because he had more courage in that moment than a lot of grown men I've seen in command posts. Months later, cameras moved on comment sections, calmed down, but that day stayed under my skin like shrapnel. You learn to live around, and then one evening heading back from D.C., I pulled into a rundown gas station off the same highway, and there she was mopping oil stains under a buzzing light. No cruiser, no authority, just Laura with a plastic name tag and eyes that looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. She saw me, froze, then walked over slow. "General Thompson," she said, voice small. I saw everything. The hearings, the law, Jamal's scholarship. "My daughter won't talk to me. My brother wrote you. I hear myself screaming at you every night, and I'm sorry, not the court version, the real one. I don't expect you to forgive me." I looked at her and didn't see the monster the internet made or the cop from the shoulder. I saw a broken human standing in the rubble of her own choices. "I forgave you on I-35. I told her not for you, for me. So I'm not carrying your hate around like body armor." And she started crying harder. Asked, "Do you think redemption is real?" And I said, redemption isn't a headline, it's boring. It's showing up sober, telling your daughter the truth without excuses, living the rest of your life, proving that moment was the worst of you, not the core of you. Consequences stay, but what you do from here is on you. No dramatic embrace, no soaring music, just me paying her, going back to the mop and the highway noise swallowing us. Some folks hear that and say I was too soft. Some say the system only worked because I had stars on my collar and a camera on my side, and they're both touching a piece of the truth. If I'd been just another black man with no rank and no live stream, would helicopters have landed? Would a colonel have flown in? Or would my name be a hashtag you scrolled past in 2 days? So I'm asking you, since you've come this far with me, what does justice look like to you in this story? Was it her losing everything? The law, changing the kid, getting a future, the quiet conversation under bad neon? Or does it bother you that the whole machine only spun because of who I am? Tell me in the comments if you think I was too harsh or too forgiving. Tell me if you've seen this kind of thing up close and stayed silent or spoke up, and if this hit something real in you, hit like, hit subscribe, share it, because whether it's on a dusty highway or your own street, the only way this changes is if more of us remember that power without restraint is just fear with a badge, and we stop letting that be enough.